Hi everyone, my name is Dylan and this is Raquel, and we are going to be presenting on our tool Increment. So Raquel and I are really into synthwave artists. We think that this is like the next generation of musical groups and talent, and we want to start a recording label to be able to sign more of these synthwave artists. But how is it that one can go about actually finding and creating a new studio kind of based around this idea? Well, let's use Increment, our tool to be able to explore knowledge graphs, to be able to find out, using a knowledge graph of the musical industry, how we are connected to existing synthwave artists and how we can find new ones to potentially be able to sign. So we start with Increment with a very top-down view of our knowledge graph. So where a knowledge graph is typically represented with a node link diagram, we instead choose to aggregate each of the different node types that are shown here and produce a tree map visualization of the corresponding information. So you can see inside of our knowledge graph, which contains information about the people inside of the music industry, songs that they write, the record labels that manage them, albums that they create, and musical groups that they are a part of. Additionally, on the far left-hand side, we have information about the attributes of each of our nodes and edges within our network. Clicking on one of the items within the tree map filters to essentially all of the edges that leave from people nodes. So we can see that the vast majority of people are connected as a performer of to either a song or an album, but there's also people who are composers of, producers of, lyricists of, members of, and you can see some of the less frequented options over here, such as in style of, lyrical reference to, or interpolates from. Now, this is a little surprising to see these types of items, like a person is a lyrical reference to something else. So it's one of the affordances of this type of system is that it allows for you to easily see exactly what types of data connections might be false or just like errors within the data itself. Luckily for us, we're able to copy this query to URL and then save it in the future such that we can go back and refine our knowledge graph at a later time. But let's go ahead with our main mission of wanting to better understand how we're connected to existing synthwave artists. So to be able to do this, what we're going to do is we are going to find people who work inside of synth pop. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to click on person, and then we're going to go over to the attributes of people. So we see over here inside of the left-hand pane that there's 3 attributes for these 11,000-ish items. And so we have an item, which is node type, we have a name, and we have a stage name. Unfortunately, there's no genre for the type of genre that a person produces or the type of music that they make. But Increment offers the ability to derive new attributes off of these items based upon additionally the attributes and topology. So what we do for that is we click on Derive New Attribute, which starts a subquery. We can then navigate the knowledge graph by clicking on Performers of and select Songs to then find all of the attributes that are related to songs. Here we can see that songs actually has a genre. So we can actually find, we can see dream pop, indie folk, and synthwave are actual genres of songs that we have here. So as we know that this information is now stored inside of song nodes, but we want to get it over to people nodes, we can finalize the subquery and then actually begin our analysis. So here we're going to say like, is synth artist? And then in the expression, we'll say, does it exist that, if I can type, does it exist that the song.genre is equivalent to synthwave? And then we're going to hit create attribute. What happens is inside of the backend, for each person, we search to see whether or not they are connected as a performer of a song that has the genre of synthwave. And we can see now that we've actually derived that attribute for all of the people nodes within our network. Clicking on those, we can actually finalize the filter and select essentially all of the items that are corresponding just to people who are synthwave artists. So let's go ahead and save that query now and say synth artists. We'll save that and we'll pop on over to our right-hand pane in which we have all of these saved queries that we've made. But let's go ahead and hop on back and actually find ourselves such that we can know how we're connected to all of these people. And because we're interested in being able to get a referral, potentially by someone that we've worked with in the past, whether a record label, an artist, or a musical group. And so we want to find essentially how we are connected to these other synthwave artists. To do so, we're going to click on the record label, because we are a record label, and we're going to type in our name, Incremental Drift. Here we are going to, once again, finalize the filter, and then save the query here as us. Now, this allows for us to have a saved queries pane over on the side, where we can actually begin to do some additional computation on top of our nodes themselves. So here we first select us, and then we select synth artist, and we go to operations, and you can see there's a number of graph operations, which we talk about a little bit more inside the submission. But for today, what we're interested in is connections between us. We want to find how we're connected to these synth artists. By running connect, we get a very quick response that reveals that there is one shortest path between us and one of those individuals who is a synth pop artist, this Matida Zarillo. Now, we can see if we actually inspect the path that it goes through, that it looks like this connection happens through a similar record label. So it was someone that we collaborated with to actually distribute our music. So it might make sense that if we're wanting to get in contact with Matilda, we can actually reach out to the distributor to be able to get an introduction to Matilda. So this is how we can use a tool like Increment to be able to construct queries, understand knowledge graphs, and perform graph operations on top of our networks. Thank you.